Welcome to the RETSY podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Morrison. Today, Chris and I sit down with RETSY agent and owner of Rebuild the Block, Nathan Anderson. Nathan shares the importance how attention to detail is critical in all steps of development, construction, and real estate transactions. Let's get into it.
You know, we do have, like I said, we have core purposes, and one is that in the negative stigma of the building industry, and that is one of the negative stigmas. I would much rather have the right client than have the wrong client. And I hate it's a two-way street, right? So like a lot of times you mentioned that we lose out on like potential clients because we're being honest and upfront with them. I just got out of a sales meeting literally before I came to the podcast, and you know, I didn't blink an eye. I'm like, hey, this is what it's going to cost you. Like, and my comment to them at the very beginning is the reason that we go through what we call a feasibility study is, hey, is this project feasible for you?
Welcome to the RETSY podcast. Today we're sitting down with RETSY agent Nathan Anderson. Nathan, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to be here.
In addition to a RETSY agent, you're also owner of Rebuild the Block. We'll definitely get into that today as well.
Yeah.
But I always like to start with, what do you do before real estate?
Oh, it's a complicated journey there. But before real estate, I actually grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. So went to school like most people, got my degree, and then I was actually a general manager of a large format print division that did like food packaging labels and large format printing. And then after I did that for about 5 years, I decided to jump over to software sales. So I did software sales where I was able to get a lot of my negotiation skills and, you know, sales acumen going. I did that for about 4 years. But soon after that is when I started flipping homes down here in Arizona. And then that's what really parlayed me into real estate. After we started flipping homes, we looked at it as like a fees-based game. So ultimately, as soon as I moved down here full-time, I went out and got my license and allowed us to be able to go and capture some of the deals that we were flipping at the time.
Very cool.
Nice.
What brought you out to Arizona?
The business that I had created down here. So we had started Rebuild the Block. We started flipping homes. We were working with a lot of wholesalers and didn't really like that whole arena. It's kind of a cutthroat business there and wholesaling and dealing with a lot of people. And so after we bought a few homes and we started getting things rolling, I ended up moving down here full time so that I could be closer to the business.
So you were flipping them from the Bay Area, basically? Like, yeah. So was it minimal involvement at that time, or were you taking trips out here to look at properties, look at projects, stuff like that?
Great question. At the very beginning, it was kind of just like a side hustle. I had a buddy that I had grown up with in the Bay Area who lived down here with his family, and it's so expensive for real estate in the Bay Area. Yeah. And my dad was a GC growing up, so I've been around construction. And he's a buy and hold guy, so he's got a bunch of rentals, and I just didn't have the capital or capacity at the time to think that I could be able to invest in additional property in the Bay Area. So a few days after Christmas one year, I talked to my buddy when he was home for the holidays and said, hey, I want to start flipping homes down in Arizona. And it was just going to be like a side hustle, you know, try to make a few bucks, which we found out how difficult it is to make a few bucks flipping homes.
Yeah.
And ultimately, after pursuing that for a period of time, we started building homes. And then that's when things kind of started really taking off. But I'd fly down here probably every month for a weekend, kind of help with different operations and things that were going on with the business side.
Yeah.
But I was predominantly involved with our investor base and all the business side, while my business partner at the time was boots on the ground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, let's get into Rebuild the Block. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Rebuild the Block. How'd you come up with the name? What does it stand for?
Yeah. So it's really interesting when you're trying to build a brand, like, and we saw some of the, what would be our eventual competitors in the space. You know, I think at the time, like Rafter House had just come out, and we're like, oh, that's a really cool name, you know, like, so we should like come up with something that's unique. And so at the time we were flipping homes. And so we were flipping in Mesa and downtown in the historic districts, like in the Willow and the Coronado historic districts. And so we thought, you know, hey, well, we're kind of like rebuilding like these little homes, or like, you know, so rebuilding the block. And we tried to narrow it down. And so we actually did a poll, with family members. We just sent it out and said, like, here's like 5 or 6 names. They're all kind of similar to Rebuild the Block, but that's the one that stuck. And so that's what we've been. And then more recently, we just branched out and are rebranding a little bit. We're going to be RTB Luxury Homes as we start taking on a lot more custom homes. It kind of helps for people to understand that we're not just flipping homes but we're actually building custom homes, really nice custom homes for clients as well.
Yeah, I know. Every time you guys finish a product, when I walk in, I'm just super impressed at the quality. And also, like, I mean, you guys are not afraid to take chances on some of your architectural styles and your builds. And, I mean, some of the stuff you do in the neighborhoods, I mean, the pride in the neighborhood is having homes that don't all look the same. It's like, if I want to go see a bunch of track homes, I'll go out to Buckeye that all look the same,
Sure.
But when you drive through Arcadia and PV and some of those areas, it's like you want to see homes that look different. And some of the, I want to say Scandinavian styles and everything, I mean, they're just awesome. I know we had them on one of your homes on the front cover of one of our booklets too. And it was like, and I remember that party when you guys released that home, I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is unique. This is what people love, is different, and you guys have ventured out of I mean, I know a lot of builders will have a specific style or look.
Sure.
And, like there's a local builder, they've bought like hundreds of homes and just built all the same houses all on the block. And it's like, you can drive down, you can identify their homes in a bad way. But you guys, in a good way, have created very unique properties. And I mean, not only that, but the fits and finishes when you walk in. I mean, I've built a number of homes, so I know what it costs and what it takes to get it done. And I mean, you're putting stuff in neighborhoods that people haven't seen yet, and they're selling your proven price points in neighborhoods that they haven't seen yet. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So some of that comes from, I'm a big believer of like, hey, if you're going to do something, do it well, right? And, I don't know that that's a mantra that's shared as often as it should. And so I think for us, when we originally got started, we were just like any other flipper, right? We were just trying to look for something to look good, pick things out as quick as we could. We try to get things on the market. And at one point we were working through, some of our core like purposes and core values. And I remember early on it was like, we exist to build trendy homes, right? And then like very quickly we moved away from that and said like, hey, we want to be more on the cutting edge of design. We started getting involved with more architects and designers that would really help to elevate, some of the homes that we were building and the components that went in them. So it really helped to increase the overall quality and the aesthetic of our builds. So like, it's definitely not something that we took lightly or created on our own. Obviously, there's a lot of people that go into making a project come together. And then in addition to that, as we started getting involved with other organizations like the National Home Builders Association and like going to conferences, we went to a fair amount of Tom Ferry conferences as well. But like on the build side, it was really interesting. We started building some of these Scandinavians, and then you'd see when you go of where the trends are, months after we build these things, it'd be like, okay, well, Scandinavian's now like like within the top 5 of design aesthetics that people are going for these days. And so it really kind of proved the point that we were trying to kind of push the envelope in some of these areas. And I feel like we've done that. I feel like it used to be very exciting for us to like build comps or to make comps in neighborhoods that like people be like, oh, you're never going to be able to achieve that. And I think that the shift's changed a little bit. Like, right now we have a fair amount of following. So like we have people that are looking for what it is that we're building, but looking at on more of the custom side. So like all of our spec homes are custom homes. And I think that's what makes us unique as a developer, to your point. We're not just reiterating the same thing over and over again. We're trying to look at the lot. We're trying to look at what can actually be placed there. And we're trying to push the envelope a little bit. Sometimes that's great for us, and sometimes, it doesn't work out. But
well, people need to realize that's expensive. When you copy and paste homes over and over and over again, you can get the cost to build way down. But when everything's different, I mean, it can be pretty expensive to build.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I remember, so let's go into Nate and Paul.
Sure.
Yeah.
The real estate team. Paul told a great story about how like you guys started working together and basically begged for your business.
Yeah.
And And I remember like in the early days, like you and I got to know each other in the Lafayette build. So those were great homes right across the street from each other.
Yep.
Just iconic homes to the neighborhood. Still to this day, like one of my good friends lives in one of your homes and loves that home.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know you recently did some updates too, which turned out beautiful. I saw that last year. But
I appreciate that.
That said, he talked about something that really stuck with me that I hope you don't mind him sharing because it's already too late. We published the episode.
No, that hasn't been public. Well, I don't know.
But
I'll have to look at the calendar.
The way you involve the neighborhood in every one of your builds, like you invite them over for, coffee and demo, and then like you have all these stages.
Espressos and excavators is what we call it.
I mean, you have builds going on in your neighborhood, and your neighbors are inherently like kind of nosy, right? Like they want to see what's going on, they want to learn about it. But the fact that you're inviting them over from espresso and excavators to like the framing something, and then he had all these stages where he invites the neighborhood over, and I think it's great for your real estate business because people know the product, know who you are, will refer you guys to the real estate side of things.
100%.
It also works for the build side of things because they understand that you guys give a shit about the neighborhood.
Yeah.
A lot of builders just come in, could care less, ignore the neighbors' complaints, this and that, and they just run with it.
Yeah.
Where you guys get involved in the neighborhood and keep them present. I thought that was genius too, because it's like if I'm living down the block from a rebuild the block house and I see it go up, I'm like, this is really cool. I want to go in there. I'm hesitant to go in there because I don't know you guys.
Sure.
But if I get an invite, I'm going, right?
100%.
And if I like the product, if I buy another house, most likely I'm going to build with you. So I love that whole structure. How'd you guys come up with that? Does that work out well for your business? What's the neighborhood feedback from that?
So, I mean, I think from a neighborhood perspective, it really falls in line with one of our core purposes, which is to end the negative stigma of the building industry. And because we play two sides of that coin, we are a developer, but we're also a full licensed GC and we're a builder. And on the development side, that's going to be more of like, obviously purchasing land and build and designing the plan sets. And then obviously the real estate is one component of that development as well. And so by having those events, that's one of the reasons we're having them is because there's too many people that are, especially in the neighborhoods that we develop, that are really upset with some of the stuff that's going on. And so by building that rapport up front, it actually helps our development projects like a ton because during the course of construction, we don't have as many people complain. And then the other thing that I would say is, and I think you know this better than anyone, Chris, is you're always going to hear the complaints. Like those are the people that scream the loudest, but very rarely do you get the praise, or very rarely do you get people that actually are like the positive comments. And by having those events, most of the positive people come out, and even some of the negative stuff that we get as developers, it helps to put them at ease that like we're not just there to make a quick buck and leave, but that we're part of the community just like everyone else. We live in the community, we play in the community, we eat the same restaurants. And we really are trying to do things in a different way. And I'll give you a specific example. We've had some of these events recently in one of the pockets just off of 44th and Indian School, just right behind Chick-fil-A.
Call it the Triangle.
The Triangle.
The Triangle.
Right? So we had some projects there. And there's a modern home right across the street from one of the homes that we were building. And we already built a few homes in that area. And on our Instagram, he reached out to us and he asked a question. He says, why do you guys always build these big white stucco boxes, right? And at first, it was kind of like, wow, like that's pretty harsh, like, but I responded back and I was just like, hey, like, all of the homes in these neighborhoods were slump block. So like, why was everyone 50 years ago building masonry slump block? Like, and I said, so like a lot of people are building with stucco because it's a modern day, building material. I'd love to grab coffee with you. So I went and got coffee with the guy.
Oh, you met with him?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Wow. Usually the glass half full people get the delete button from me, or half empty people get the delete button.
So I got coffee with him, and he works for a marketing firm. It's I forget the name of it. It's right by Postino's. MRRP is it?
Yeah.
MRRP.
I know what you're talking about.
So anyway, we met for coffee, and I kind of walked him around, and I said, look, like, there are a lot of builders that are building these big white stucco boxes. I'm like, but like, come and look at our house. Like, look at what we're trying to do. Like, this is a design aesthetic. At that time, we were building what we called our coastal modern as a Scandinavian design. And, he kind of bought into the fact that like, hey, look, like we are having to build something that is like appeasing to the modern day market, right? Mm-hmm. And so after that, he was like, although he still doesn't like a lot of the houses in the neighborhood, like he shows up at all our events. And, he's a super friendly guy, and he's an advocate for us now versus... what I could have taken as a negative comment, which was really just a question, right? It was legitimately a question. You could take it as it's a negative comment or a positive comment, right? But if you just take it at face value, like he asked a question, I answered the question, and then we started developing a relationship.
Well, I was going to say, like, you have the people that will show up to this house and, like, you know, the glass half empty people are like, you just made my property taxes go up. And the glass half full people are like, thank you for increasing our property values. You know, it's like you're going to have two perspectives. Yeah.
On the flip side, you mentioned about real estate. And at these events, you know, we try to make them fun. We also want to be advocate for people realizing that there's different career paths as well, right? Like we all as kids like have like little, you know, like dump trucks and stuff that we play around with, but then none of us actually turn into be like a big heavy machine operator or whatever. But
I can introduce you to my buddy Adam Hisme. He just kidding. Like Adam is a very hard person to please, but he's a big fan of Rebuild the Block. Like
I think I've heard of Adam.
He will speak his mind on anything, and he's a big advocate of you guys. You guys did some projects together, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we have. And they've gone great, by the way.
Yeah.
But it also allows you know, myself and Paul to get in front of these people as well and talk to them about, you know, how we acquire lots. You know, and oftentimes a lot of these people they get taken, you know, by wholesalers and other people. So it allows us to be able to have a fair amount of honesty within a transaction that we have in the community. Most of our transactions come from those types of events. And then on the flip side, you know, we are able to advocate that we know real estate. We know every single facet of real estate. We know it from the teardown value to the tweeners to, you know, the new product, obviously, because, you know, we're buying teardowns. We know everything that's probably overvalued, not overvalued, but more expensive than what a teardown would be. So the tweeners, and then obviously we know what new product sales look like. So it allows us to be able to show our expertise within the market that we're developing in. That we're not just a developer, we're not just a builder, but that we're you know, we have real estate in our blood, and we can be able to help them out with different situations depending on their certain situation.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to address, like, and I see this time and time again over the last 20 years in building multiple homes, you'll have builders that they grow their business really quick by underpricing stuff. And then you have builders that are very consistent. I mean, one thing with you, like when you bid projects and stuff, you may not get them all, but your pricing's accurate. And then I've had clients that maybe have gone another route to go a little bit cheaper because the builder misbid the project up front. Mm-hmm. They end up paying more and waiting longer to get the finished product and losing money than going with somebody who knows their numbers, knows their math. I'm sure it's common in the industry, but like we've all seen those builders out there that will give you one number and the project finishes like not even like 30%, like 40, 50% more than what they originally quoted. And they all end up at the same price. But like, you know, I've noticed with you guys, I mean, every time I drive by one of your job sites, there's people working, right? Like that's another big pet peeve. Like when I'm building, it's like you drive by a job site and nobody's there and you're like, you have this gigantic burn per month holding this property. But 100%. That was also a compliment that Adam gave me, that gave you to me when I was asking. But, you know, it's like, what do you see out there right now? I mean, are you finding that more and more people are appreciating the quality, understand your builds, they watch your YouTube videos, they understand what goes into it? And then also, what are you seeing with like pricing with subs? Is it getting a little bit looser now, or is it still very tight? And, you know, how do you manage all that?
All those are great questions. I'll see if I can capture them all.
Sorry, I'm going to throw like 7 more at you, and then we'll see if you remember them.
So I think the first one is, you know, we do have, like I said, we have core purposes, and one is that in the negative stigma of the building industry, and that is one of the negative stigmas. I would much rather have the right client than have the wrong client. And I hate it's a two-way street, right? So like a lot of times you mentioned that we lose out on like potential clients because we're being honest and upfront with them. I just got out of a sales meeting literally before I came to the podcast, and you know, I didn't blink an eye. I'm like, hey, this is what it's going to cost you. Like, and my comment to them at the very beginning is the reason that we go through what we call a feasibility study is, hey, is this project feasible for you? And I think that's the thing is that like, I think a lot of builders, they don't care about the development side. It's like, hey, they just get a set of plans and they're going to like come in, try to get the job as cheap as possible and then hit you up with a ton of change orders, or it's an unrealistic budget, or what I often tell people is, you know how much a free estimate is worth about what you paid for it.
Yeah.
Like to do a true estimate on a true custom home is hundreds of hours of work to be able to get to an accurate cost. And I say that if you go through a full bid process. I'm not saying that you can't provide some budgetary numbers and some feasibility and some allowances and stuff, but there's a lot more that goes into a project than just the building of the home itself. I mean, and I'll pose a question. Like, Chris, you live in Arcadia, new home development, half acre in Arcadia. What do you think it cost for everything that's on the lot that's not the house for a half acre? Pool, landscape, fire pits, hardscape.
Half acre, I would say I'm budgeting at least $250,000 for landscaping and upwards of $350,000. And that's also kind of building for spec. Like if I'm building to move into it, I mean, God, I could probably spend $400,000.
Yeah.
And in my offer, like
no,
I don't know if my numbers are right.
You're pretty on.
Haven't gotten a good bid in 12 months, but
that's fair. But no, absolutely. Like on a spec home cost, like for a half acre, you're going to spend probably $300 to $350 if you're including a pool and a hot tub. Like those are big ticket items, right? If it's to a client, obviously we're not making our money on the sell or the development fee. We're making our money on, in our case, cost plus, or marking it up, right? So when I meet with someone, I say, hey, look, you have half acre Arcadia. To get what you're probably going to want, you're going to be $500,000.
Yeah, you can't build a nice pool anymore for $40,000. You can build a pool for $40,000, but not a nice one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're spending over $125 for a decent, nice pool. Because I mean, if you're in Arcadia and you're a half acre, you're trying to exit at $1,200 a foot plus. And that requires a level of finishes,
100%.
right? You can't put in the little 3-gallon plants. I mean, you got to go 15-gallon. And, it's just like you can't do all the cookie cutter stuff that the other ones are doing.
Yeah.
So,
and we just got a pool bid, our cost as the GC, $130,000.
Yeah.
And it's a nice pool. I mean, it's a play pool. It's got a spa, hot tub. It's heated. It's got a automatic pool cover. But the automatic pool cover, some people don't even realize it's like $20,000 for the upgrade.
Yeah, I couldn't justify that on a spec, but for an end user,
for sure. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, this is one thing I love about our company is like we do have a lot of builders who have their license with RETSY.
Sure.
We're very developer friendly. We work together. I mean, and you guys all share together, which is kind of nice too. It's like I know. Within that circle and stuff, I mean, our agents don't have to go very far to get a question answered or put a builder with a client.
Sure.
And I mean, a lot of what RETSY does is new construction and builds and developments, and we've sold out subdivisions and, but playing in that sandbox, like what's been your experience with RETSY? What attracted you and Paul, the Nate and Paul team to come over to RETSY? And then, what did you get out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, my story, Chris. Like, I was in real estate for a while, solo. The way I looked at it was this is a fees-based game. Like, if I'm flipping homes, like the way to make more money is to collect some of those fees, right? So like if you have the money to pay for cash, then you don't have to pay a lender, right? So like collect that fee. If you're a real estate agent, you don't have to pay the commission fees, right? And some RETSY agents might not like that comment, but it is the truth. Like at the time, you're just trying to like make a buck,
maximize your profits
and maximize your profits, right? So that's why I became an agent, and it was really interesting because I became an agent, and you're trying to figure out, okay, well, who am I going to hang my license with or whatnot, and it was really interesting because the brokerage that I hung was with Carl Thunberg. You know Carl at all?
Does
it sound familiar?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
He had his own brokerage. It's a small boutique brokerage. Yeah. But one of his agents had represented our very first new construction home. One of his agents had represented the buyer on it. And he immediately came to me after that house closed and said, hey, I just want to let you know that your representation wasn't very good because you sold the house for about $40,000 less than what the appraisal came in at. And just to add salt to the wound, we had only made $20,000 on the house, right? So like this is back when we were, is like, rebuilds, they were like $700,000, right? Or $650 or whatever. Yeah. So like, the numbers we were playing with weren't as big either, but neither here nor there. So he recruited me to hang my license with him. So that's what we did. I hung my license with him. And then the next house we co-listed. And then after that, I would list my own houses, and then I was under his brokerage. But it was such a boutique brokerage. It was only like 15 agents. Like, it was out in Tempe. Like, it was just a place to hang my license, right? And it was great. Like he was a good mentor for me at the time. I think since then he's shut down his brokerage and went to one of the big box brokerages. But I moved away from that to Coldwell Banker, and I'm giving you the full background. But what happened there was I started getting vetted by a lot of agents. They were reaching out and they were like, hey, like, you know, so some brokerages, some agents. So like some brokerages would reach out and say, hey, I can see you can do a lot of business. Like, we'd like you to come to our brokerage, right? And then others would be like, hey, we see that you're doing business, but we see you're repping yourself. Like, we just want to rep you, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I'm not interested in someone repping me. Like, I did that for flipping homes and stuff, and I felt like we never really had the best representation at some of the price points we were at. Mm-hmm. So I got recruited over to Coldwell Banker, you know, and they're just paying people money to come over there, right? I mean, that's the truth, right?
I know. When Paul had said that, my jaw dropped. I'm like, they give you money to join their brokerage? I'm like, I don't know. Like, my red flag was like,
So, but just like anything, it's relationship based. So, like, what ended up happening for me is, you know, this person reached out. Her name's JJ Swanson. She used to be with Coldwell Banker, and you know, she was, you know, one of their executives that would recruit people over, right? And I met with her at Chop Shop just off 32nd Indian School, right in the hood. And I sat down with her, and she immediately was like, "Look, we want you to come to Coldwell Banker, but we want you to come to Coldwell." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, I'll listen to your pitch or whatever." But she's like, "I think that you could be a great agent. Like, I think that like just talking with you and like understanding like your drive and your determination, like I'm not interested in you coming over and just bringing your listings over here because you're a builder, but like I think that you can actually parlay this into an actual business." And so that was the first time where I was kind of like, you know, hey, maybe I could, you know, build a clientele for just real estate outside of like our flips and our developments, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's always nice to have someone that like, whether it was, I do think that it was accurate at the time. Like, you know, like,
well, think about it. I mean, like, if you're a client and you're buying a house, why not have an agent that understands everything from soils to footers to stem walls to framing to electrical, mm-hmm. you know, like understand the full bill,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you can guide them to a decision and you know what you're talking about, that's a pretty powerful real estate agent.
It is. It's definitely one of those things you have in the back pocket, you know, like one of those unique qualifiers, you know, in this business is you got to be able to differentiate yourself from the next person, right? So I went over to Coldwell Banker, and it wasn't the same vibe as RETSY, I'm not going to lie, right? So like we were over there, and it was really interesting because the first time I went before I even joined the brokerage, Paul stood up and he was like, "Oh, you know, I just closed on a listing. It was like 1.3 million or 1.8 million or something like that. It's like the biggest deal he closed. I didn't know that at the time, but like he's like, I just closed on. I'm like, hey, this young guy's like, you know, killing it or whatever. So I joined the brokerage, right? Got my little fee, and for 2 years to be there, I think is what it was, and started
to handcuff you for 2 years.
Yeah, handcuff you for 2
years.
Here's a
fee. Here's handcuffs for 2 years.
So I went over there, and one of the things I recognized real quick, and this is what I think JJ did a great job with, and then eventually Coena, she's like, look, like you need to find someone that you could team up with. Like you can't do it all the time, because I would have this great lead flow. I'd go hold open houses. Like you all know, like how often have you had someone come into your open house and buy your house?
Sometimes it happens.
How many times?
Well, maybe 3 that I can think of.
Okay, so 3. And you've done a lot of transactions, Chris. So, but my point is that I would get all these leads, but it's like some of the leads would be great, right? Like, hey, they're in the neighborhood, they're looking for something similar. I could be able to pitch them, you know, to something else. Yeah. Other leads would be like, oh yeah, I'm looking for a condo out in Gilbert. I'm like, I don't want to go out to Gilbert and sell you a condo. Like, I got developments that I got to worry about and stuff like that. But my point is that these leads wouldn't go as far as I could take them, right? You only have so much time in the day. So then we started building the homes off Lafayette. That's when me and Paul started holding some opens for us. Another agent of ours, Jen, she was holding some stuff at the time. She was with Two Hawks, doing a lot of stuff for Two Hawks development.
Yep.
And so we were like, you know, sending people back and forth from our developments, and it was a fun time. But I hadn't been teamed up with anyone. And so now I'll get to your point, Matt, about, you know, begging me to come over or to work for me for Paul. He did come over to open houses, but what was interesting is I asked him if he wanted to team up, and at the time he was thinking about going over to North & Co. Do you remember this conversation?
Oh, I kind of do.
And I'm like, I'm throwing out all the garbage now, right? Just throwing out all the trash here. But
we're gonna have to do the split screen of Paul and Nate talking about
yeah. So anyway, so I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, at the time I was like, look, I I'm not looking at moving right now. Like, I just need to find someone that could be able to kind of take this lead base and like help out with some of the real estate stuff. And so a couple weeks later, he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. Like, let's team up." And at that time, we had some cool projects off of 36 in Glen Rosa, and that's when we teamed up. And we got a lot of leads from open houses, and we were really cruising, and that really helped to like solidify the relationship and the partnership that we had established. And it was a really good. It has been a really good partnership. You know, we've been able to increase our sales over the years, and that's when RETSY got involved. So now I got full circle here, right? So Paul says, "Hey, Chris Morrison is looking at starting up RETSY," and I'm like, "Okay, like I don't even know what that is." At the time, we were at Industrious, and you were.
Oh yeah, that's the original days.
Yeah, the original days.
That's when we had like the entire mall to ourselves because it was like COVID, and we had one office in this gigantic industrial. I mean,
so we had an office in there for Rebuild the Block. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh yes, you did.
It was. I think it was before you guys were even in there, but neither here nor there. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna move over," and I knew at the time. I mean, I knew who you were. Like we had crossed paths, and I think you had met with us, and I don't know what number we came over, but it was like your team, and then like a few other, I think, of founders that came over, and it was me and Paul.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And we were just in this little thing, and they had like the little little note handwriter that Jay Jordan used to come in and write all his handwritten, like all his handwritten notes.
Hey, don't rat him out. Like everybody thinks he handwrites all those himself.
So, anyways, that was the switch, and I don't ever think that we thought we were taking a chance. Like I just think that we realized what you guys were trying to establish, and realized that the quality of homes that we were building needed to be like coupled with an appropriate brokerage. And at the time, like COVID times, oof, man, there's no one in the office at Coldwell Banker. But they have like 5,000 square foot like facility, and me and Paul were the only people there.
Oh wow!
At the time, right? So like, anyway, so then we moved over to RETSY, and we never even looked back. Like it's been great. The relationships obviously are awesome, but I think one of the big things that you had pitched on, and I mentioned this earlier, I was in software sales. I was selling big data enterprise software before I started doing development and real estate. And so you had mentioned like, hey, I'm really focused on technology. I'm focused on trying to do these things. And not only did you say that you were going to be focusing on those, but you brought some of those things into the fold. I mean, like we do ReChat. You know, Paul gets all our stuff into our database now. And that really makes a big difference. Like when we hold our events, we can be able to keep track of, who's come to our Neighbor in the Know events. Obviously, we have our sphere of influence. We have some of those things. And those tools, you're always looking for better and better tools. So getting with the right brokerage, having a luxury presence, rubbing shoulders with the right people, specifically within our industry, has made a huge difference for us.
Yeah. It's like almost exactly what Paul said, except for he has a love affair with our marketing department.
Oh, yeah, he does.
We have a creative department that's just incredible. And the stuff they come up with, especially for you guys, like I crack up and I'm like, is this for real? I'm like, this is genius. And they're like, yeah, we already sent it out to like 1,200 agents. It's like, this is awesome. Like the Step Brothers open house.
Catalina wine mixer.
Catalina wine mixer. That was awesome. That was a really well-attended event too.
100%.
Like you guys put on some really great events, but do you feel like we kept our promises?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, you guys have delivered. You guys have obviously created a presence. You guys have built what you guys said you were going to build, right? And I know you say it a lot. Like it is a quality over quantity game, and it really falls in line with like who I am as a business owner. We're not out building 100 homes. I don't want to build track homes. Like I don't want to build cheap stuff, right? I also want to work with people that are reputable, and I think that time and time again, you look at who's within RETSY, and there's a lot of reputation on the line, and I think everyone wears the brand well.
We have a great group. I mean, we do it at every Christmas party. I make everybody stop and look around the room and realize who's in here, and like realize how we help each other.
So, for sure. Yeah.
Well, and I also got to thank you because, I mean, on our RETSY Connect product, people are always asking for stuff. You're always quick to jump in, give a resource, give a vendor. Even in our OGs group, like, hey, I need a window guy.
I'm not as good as Adam, but every once in a while I'll pop in there and give my 2 cents.
I'm pretty sure some of the people Adam's sharing are your people, but
Adam's been around a while. He's got a lot of people, but
he does.
Some of them are,
Adam's quick, though. I mean, like,
he's quick. He beats me to the punch. I'm like, okay, well.
But I mean, it's just like, that's how you make a better brokerage, right? Like, so Sydney, I added her to the OGs group, even though she's not the original OGs group, but like our vendors now, we're putting them on Connect. So now people can just go and ask the tool, like, hey, I need a window person, and it'll list the window person. And then we can also rate them and do all that stuff. So we'll have profiles built out so that some of these vendors get vetted. If they stop calling our agents back, we just remove them from the system. You know, and it's like, you know, that cycle. Like, somebody's great until you start sharing them, and then all of a sudden they get reluctant or forget how to call you back.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, we know it, right? Real estate's a relationship game, but so is building. So is, I mean, really anything, right? So like, it's tough too, because I mean, even within the confines of like, you know, our construction company, I might, as the owner of the company, I might get a different response than one of my PMs that reaches out, right? You know, like, and it's unfortunate that's the case, but like, it's amazing when you have the type of relationship you have with your network, like how far you can take that. It's hard to just give someone else a piece of your network and expect that you're going to get the same results.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
A lot of times I will tell a vendor, hey, we're going to add you to RETSY Connect. You won't ever get to see it, but everybody who calls you can rate you. And I encourage them to do that.
100%.
So if you stop calling our agents back, like, I'll remove you from the system, and you'll have bad ratings on there. So maybe we'll let you sit there for 3 months with bad ratings, and then we'll remove you. It's like our own personal Yelp or our own personal like rating system. And like, it was funny because one of the vendors called me the other day. He's like, I missed a call from an agent named Jen. Like, give me all your Jen's phone numbers. Like, he was like emphatic about calling him back. And
you're like, just check your missed call log, and you'll be able to know the number.
We don't have any revenue stream from that. Like, we put them on there because they're good vendors. You know, I mean, they may advertise in our magazine here and there, but like, at the end of the day, like, you know, we want good vendors. And I think when you set that standard up front, it's just like they hold RETSY to a higher. You know, like I had a well-known appraiser in the Valley. Shout out to Andrew Turley. He's awesome. Like, he's just like, dude, I go out of my way to call RETSY agents back when they have questions about appraisals or are questioning the way I valued something, this and that. He's like, I love your guys' network. You guys built a good network, and I've never had a bad experience with a RETSY agent. And like, he's like, dude, and I battle battles every day with these other brokerages. And you know, like, and he works hard. I mean, pumps out of a lot of appraisals, and he's the number one for the Valley, and the banks and all of our favorite lenders use him. But you know, that means a lot. But
you might get a call from him because he was having trouble finding a lockbox at one of our houses the other day. I kind of hid it behind the fence because it's a house that's going to get demoed. But yeah, he's great. I mean,
just give him 5 stars.
He'll forgive me. He'll forgive me. Yeah. So, but no, Andrew's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he helps out on a lot of stuff. You know, so.
Yeah, and even when I'm trying to pre-price something, he's just always quick to answer the phone, and I'm like, "Am I off base here?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're off base." And I was just like, he'll flat out tell me, which is great.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go. Like, if I'm an agent, I'm listening to this episode. What do I want to know about Nathan Anderson? All right, how do you balance the real estate side of things with the building side of things?
Well, there's no balance, Chris.
Please, you're one of the more disciplined people I know in business.
So I think what's really interesting with balance is that's actually been a big focus of mine, like personally. So early on, like I'm very goal oriented. I think a lot of successful people are, right? But like very goal oriented, right? But before, I felt like I would just make I'd have these categories, and like each category with like 5 or 6 goals for the year, right? And it was just like too much. Like at the end of the year, I'm like, all right, well, I achieved half of them. Like, that's good, right?
Yeah.
But now I got 2 overarching goals for me personally. And that is, and you might laugh, but be the best version of myself majority of the time, okay? And simplify my life. Now, you might laugh on the simplify my life because that doesn't mean that I have a simple life. My life's pretty complex, but I try to balance things as best I can, right? And so more recently, what that means is making sure that I start the day off right, with just going on a walk with my wife, going to the gym, right? I know it sounds crazy. I know a lot of people talk about it, and there's a lot of people probably roll their eyes like, yeah, whatever. Like,
no, it's quality time.
But it's quality time, right? And that's actually changed the perspective. I used to walk out the door early in the morning before anyone would get up and go to work, right? Now I've kind of flipped it and said, hey, look, the most important people in my life, I'm going to be able to see in the morning. So the nice thing about being local is I'm able to do those things in the morning. Then I go out, I could hit up job site. Like I said, most of our business is just right around Camelback Mountain, Paradise Valley, Arcadia, Scottsdale. And then usually when it gets a little bit darker, like not right now, but I'll come home, see the kids. So I'll go out for a little bit, take care of a few things, and I'll come home, see the kids before I go to school. Sometimes I'll take them to school. And so that's really created a lot of balance for me in the morning. And what I found is that there's 3 roles that we talked about, right? Developer, GC, and real estate. So those are tough time segments to be able to keep in check, okay? And I'll say it like this. Construction starts from the time the sun rises till the time that it's too hot to work in Arizona, so about 2 o'clock, probably like 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a developer's time is really like all the design professionals, like investors, things like that, and that's like normal business hours. It's like, okay, call it 8 to 5 for the most part. And then real estate, what's real estate?
24/7.
24/7, right? Yeah. So it is really tough. So that's how I balance. I've been able to carve away a few hours in the morning for like personal and personal time and hanging out with the family. And when I say hanging out, that's loose. It's not like we're hanging out, but I get more quality time in the morning than I do at witching hour when everyone's trying to go to bed. I do construction and development related stuff usually in the morning, and then I switch over a couple days a week after lunch to be able to work on some of the real estate stuff and and some additional development stuff, since that's inherently a lot of the real estate stuff that we're involved with. So, and then every once in a while, especially when we have new properties, I'll hold open houses still. Yeah. I just held open house yesterday at one of our new builds as well. So it's kind of a common balance. And then the other thing I would say, getting out of town. Like on the weekends, at least once a month, we're headed up to Flagstaff, we're up to Payson, we're going off roading, we're camping, we're getting a little cabin or a little hotel and just hanging out, just having family time for 3 or 4 days.
Well, it's awesome. I mean, Rachel gives you a lot of support and 100%. Stuff with, I know every open house I see her, sometimes the kids, and it's just like, to have them involved in understanding what you do, how hard you work and all that stuff, but also spending the quality time, right? Mm-hmm. One of my coaches, I think it was Christina Benega, she's just like, when was the last time you dated your wife? I'm like, go to dinner? We go to TP every Friday. I'm like, oh, so every Sunday. But she's like, no, like go and date your wife. Mm-hmm. You plan something out, do this and do that. And it's like so vitally important. You get so focused on business, careers, what needs to get done, that ever-growing to-do list, that you need to focus on what's important. Yep. So I think absolutely. You have a pretty good balance there. Yeah, better than most people, I'm sure, listening to this.
Well, it's been better the last couple of years. I won't say that was the case the first decade that I've been running around doing stuff, but it's super important. I will give a shout out. Anniversary today, 16 years married.
Congrats.
For me and Rachel, it was awesome.
That's awesome.
But one of the things that we've been consistent about is every week we go on date night, and I will say that sometimes it's more like, hey, we're just going to the TP or whatever, kind of like what you said. But I think more recently it's been, some of our dates consist of going on a hike, or doing something active, or sometimes I think it's just you're like, oh, we're just gonna go get dinner tonight. It's like, so we've been getting out with couples, going to Top Golf, just doing stuff that's more fun and more engaging.
And she's going to love that diamond tennis bracelet you showed me earlier. Oh, yeah? She's just going to absolutely
love it. Yeah. You must not know Rachel all that well. She's more like, she wants some Viore clothes or some sweet tennis shoes or something to go to the gym in. But
sorry, just trying to throw you under the bus.
Throw me under the bus, yeah. So, but anyways, she's a huge support. And I will say one of the things that I'll recommend for anyone that's involved and wants their kids to be successful, one of my overarching goals for my kids is just to be
involved and present.
Involved and present, but productive members of society. That's what I was getting at.
Yes.
I want to be productive members of society. I want them to understand the dynamics of what it takes to be a functioning individual, right? So, and my oldest, she's like, oh, I want to come hold open house with you. She used to go do open houses, so I'd have her go in and be like, oh, hey, when someone comes to the door, you got to hand them a flyer, and stuff, and she'll hang out with me for an hour or two and then leave, which is probably about usually what the open houses are anyways. And then other things that I'll do is they can earn money. And so sometimes we'll just go out and I'll just say, hey, you guys want to earn, $5 if you come, $10 if you come and you don't complain, $15 if you're happy about it. And we'll just go out and clean up lots, just pick up garbage and stuff for an hour. Yeah. And it just teaches them good habits of getting out and doing something, even if it's not the most enjoyable, how to earn money. And so I hope that goes a long way with them. But it's a challenge.
Yeah. Well, and bringing them along, seeing every step of the process. I mean, they're absorbing it. They're at that age right now where they're just sponges. I mean, my daughter's like basically bilingual. And I thought it was because she loved Dora the Explorer growing up. I mean, everything she learns, like songs, and Taylor Swift will release a new song and she'll have every word memorized after listening twice. And it's like, but they see this stuff and it makes them more productive humans. And I'm a big believer in seeing that. I mean, when we were growing up, I mean, Richard Rice was one of our dad's best friends. And Richard's like, now that I realize like I was an exploited miner, he paid us like $3 an hour to clean up job sites on construction. But, also like he had us involved in building stuff and seeing how wiring happened. And I mean, God, I was probably the smallest one that could crawl through an attic because they miss a run or something like that. And like cleaning up job sites, it just like, you learn so much, but you never forget that stuff. I just remember like it'd be that basement home in Paradise West. Do you remember that? Like I'm down there cleaning all this stuff up and like this and that. And the realtor would show up in a brand new 7 Series BMW and like be in and out in 15 minutes. And Richard said something like they'll make more money on this deal than I will, and I've worked on it for 2 years or a year and a half or something like that. It was like probably all pushed me towards the real estate thing. I think buying my house caused me to want to actually get my real estate license, and my first deal in real estate caused me to want to drop out of college. So like it's a natural evolution, but I think influencing your kids and bringing them around that. So.
We'll see. They still got time. I want them to be kids, obviously, but we're doing the best we can, and I think the area that we live provides a lot of opportunity for them to be able to see different levels of success and like what that looks like. But once again, not just from a monetary perspective, like like from a hard work and ethics perspective as well.
Yeah. So. No, I think it's important.
Yep.
That's very important. I wanted to pay you a compliment, and I don't know if you know this, but your woodworking is like phenomenal. Like, right. So at one of the, so a lot of that staging furniture, like Nathan's built from scratch. Yeah. Like that desk.
You don't buy your staging furniture?
Yeah.
No, like a normal person?
I spend 1 hour a week building furniture so eventually I could stage a house.
So you were like a carpenter.
So yeah, I'll hit on it real quick.
Yeah. It's impressive.
What's really interesting is like how many hobbies you got? Okay, let me extra phrase that. 10 years ago, how many hobbies did you have? Because I know you got some hobbies. I know you go fly fishing and stuff. Yeah. But like, have you been able to keep your hobbies?
Yeah, I play pickleball, tennis, golf. I go fishing more times than I like to admit.
But 10 years. Well, he's 10 asking 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, tennis and.
So hobbies come and go, but like a lot of times when you hit like maybe 30s to 40s, like you just don't have a lot of hobbies. Like you're just like grinding through stuff. I mean, I could be wrong. If you listen to podcasts, you disagree, whatever.
I have fads I go through, but
all right, fads. So anyway, I was kind of like, look, like I've never been a tradesman. Like that's not what I do. Like, but I always like to work with my hands and stuff. I used to like woodworking classes and stuff like that, and so I wanted to get a little closer to the trades, and so I sought out some different programs to just see what programs they even had for tradesmen, and I found this woodworking class with a one-on-one. He's a local finish carpenter that actually did his whole business was in Clearwater Hills. He did almost all the cabinetry and custom millwork packages in all in Clearwater Hills, and he takes on 35 students, 1 hour a week. And you pretty much can build whatever you want. Well, since he has an acre lot, he's got a huge shop in the back that's got a paint booth and like all this, like all the equipment that you would ever need to build anything that you want. But he got out of the business, and so now he does this woodworking class. And so it took me about like it was kind of funny because he's like, we got a wait list. And I'm like, wait list? Like, okay, like how long is the wait list? He's like, I don't know. I'll let you know. I'm like, okay. So like, so like literally like 5 months later, he calls me and he's like, hey, opening came up. I'm like, okay, fine. Like I'll come do this. He's like, I need a commitment from you. Like it's, blocks of 4 classes. And so I go over and I'm like so impressed with what he's got, but it's a huge mentorship for me. Like, he's in the trades. Like I've never been a tradesman specifically. But we basically build all these furniture. So I built a king size bed. I built a dining room table, end tables, and it's really funny because the house that's on the market right now, all the primary furniture, it was a house that we were going to move into, and we decided not to. It wasn't the right time for us, and so all that furniture was built specifically for that house. So it's really cool. So anyways, that's the story of the woodworking class, but it's been a fun endeavor. It's once a week, and it gets me on Tuesdays. You call me at 3:30, I'm not going to pick up because I'm at woodworking class.
Dude, I want to invite. Get me in there. Like we loved woodworking growing up. I mean,
love woodworking.
I know, like our dad had a bunch of woodworking stuff. I love shop class. I mean, like
I'll get you on the list. 6 months later, you get a call.
Yeah, get me on the list earlier. Like I know about that. At least it's better than the Arizona Country Club, right?
Yeah.
For the wait list.
Yeah,
but no,
it's
dude,
fun.
It's a great feeling to build something from scratch. I mean, I just one of my favorite artists, like he has these amazing paintings, right? But then he got into like making guitars, and then it's like, well, no, like they're beautiful guitars and they sound awesome, and like I've seen like actual like huge musicians playing his guitars. So I reached out to him on social. I'm like, I want to buy one of these guitars. This is awesome. So he's like, hey, come over to my studio, right? So go over to his studio, and he breaks it down. He's like, here's the block of wood. This is the type of wood I make it out of. I use the bandsaw to make the shape, and I route it, and I sand all the corners. And I do this. I do all the insets. I route out all this stuff. I do all the electronics. I weld it myself. And I'm like, well, geez, like you sell these amazing paintings for like 20, 30, 50 grand. Like, how long does it take to do a guitar? He's like, I can do 5 paintings, maybe even 10 paintings in the time it takes to do one guitar.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta have this. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
and you paid him $100,000 on the spot.
No, don't know. God, no. He gave me like the homie like collector hookup, you know, like. But I mean, like Michael Carson. Shout out to Michael Carson. He's awesome. Follow his Instagram. But the guitar I bought, I mean, it's a work of art. Yeah. But not only that, but like I suck at playing guitar. But if I was good, it would sound really good. We all suck
at playing instruments. We all try.
But just like watching him, and then watching how passionate he was about creating that guitar.
Sure.
Like he loves music, loves working with his hands, clearly an artist. But the work that went into that, I was just like, I felt so privileged to be able to buy one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I look at them as potential heirloom pieces. I mean, it's funny because on the furniture piece, similar to the guitars, I basically finish one project a year. Because it's only an hour a week. So like, with, vacations and missed classes or whatever, you're maybe like 42, 48 classes or whatever it is.
Sure.
And so like it's 48 hours. And so like, you're able to have this piece, right? But what's interesting is I literally like look at the furniture pieces of what I want to build. And I could go buy the furniture for like off of like Amazon or Etsy or whatever, where I get the concept from. Yeah. And it's like, it's like $400. I'm like, my classes are way more than $400 in the year, plus the materials. So, but the quality of furniture, going back to like our hit on quality, like, we're with RETSY because it's quality agents. We're building quality homes. We want to be a reputable developer that like is ethical and all those types of things. And the same bleeds into Hobbies, right? Like I want to build a quality piece of furniture. And this furniture, I built a desk and I didn't realize how heavy it was. It was I kid you not, it was like 400 pounds. And I was like, dude, I can't move it. And I was like, that's why I should probably just buy something on Etsy because it's like made out of paper and I could like throw it around. Like,
so if you're an agent listening to this podcast out of Arizona and you write an offer on a Rebuild the Block build and you ask him to throw in the living room furniture, it better be full price. Better be over full price.
Better be full price.
It's handmade.
And the bed's not attached to anything.
Dude, I had no clue that you made that.
Yeah.
Like, I've complimented the furniture and like nobody's ever told me this.
Yeah.
Well, I found out because I think I was at a broker open and I had to take a phone call and I was just like moseying around the office and I was just like inspecting this desk. And I was like, this thing is amazing.
The desk is pretty sweet.
The desk is amazing. And I was like, this thing's so cool. And then like I asked you where you got it. And you're like, I made it. And I'm like, yeah, like you put it together like when Wayfair sent it? And you're like, no. Like I made it from scratch.
Yeah. I milled down the lumber and I made it from scratch. That desk is really cool. At Apple, they got like, all the cords that like dive into the desk. I'm like, I got to have that.
Yeah.
So like I built this like whole hinge and like it's got like a recessed area for all my cords and like batteries and stuff. Or not batteries, but like my power banks and stuff. And it's really funny because it actually I can't even fit it in my ranch, my little ranch house that we're living in right now. So I got all this furniture just kind of like hanging out in all these new builds.
Is he teaching him to make cabinets and cabinetry and like?
He could. Not like.
Does it help you appreciate these $170,000 bids for kitchen cabinets now?
It does. I mean, it is interesting because like pricing is I'm a builder.
Yeah.
Pricing is outrageous, right? Like even for us, it's so funny because it's like, well, you want to get it cheaper? It's like, I don't know, go to IKEA, I guess, like, and get some cabinets there. But it does. It provides a different appreciation for the trades, and I think that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of have a different appreciation. But it also helps, like when you could talk the lingo and you could talk through, how to be able to actually make furniture and how it's done. So, like I said, it's everything in life for me is a learning experience. Like I said, I'll repeat it again. Anything I do, I'm going to do well, and it's been fun working with someone that has expertise in that area. Shout out to Ken at the Phoenix Woodworking School. Really great guy. But one of the things he is super humble. But one time he slid in this I was rated by Fine Woodworking magazine top 10 carpenter in the nation back in the day, and I was like, oh, fun little fact, Ken. He just kind of threw in there. But he's awesome.
That is cool. I would love to do one of those classes with you someday.
Sorry to
get
go
on the
off
wait
on
list.
the tangent, but
No.
Well, we're getting close on time. Let's see here. What else do we want to cover?
We always like to ask where you see the market in the next 5 years.
Yeah, dude, you actually have a better pulse than most. Like you see what costs are, what subs are available.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it pick up or slow down on the build side?
So it's interesting. I think that there's always room for good builders because there's too many builders that aren't that great. And I'm not trying to be negative on that.
No,
front.
but it's 100% true.
It's like the reality is you want to work with the top 10% in the industry, probably more like the top 5. But from a market perspective, I think I've said this over and over again, especially in the areas that we develop. Everything's based on lot price, right? So the lot price indicates so much, right? And it's going to be really interesting to see, and already seeing what's happening. I think that a lot of people still think that their land's worth gold, and my opinion is that it's not, because as a lot of developers are coming to market with higher and higher end product, and with the current market conditions, their lot value is actually devaluing if developers aren't going to be able to reap the reward of being able to sell these amazing products for what they're trying to sell for. So I think there's a little bit of softening on the lot market. I know that there's a few developer buddies of mine that have swooped in and been able to get some deals that I didn't think were achievable in some of the higher end luxury markets. With that said, I think that there's always going to be people that are wanting to build new homes, and I think that fares well for infill luxury.
Yeah.
There's only 1,200 homes in Arcadia proper, probably somewhere around there, maybe 1,000 homes.
2,400, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. 2,400.
I know that mailing list all too well.
Fair enough. But there's only going to be, and how many of those are acre lots, right? How many of those are quarter acre lots?
Not very
or
many.
half acre lots, So at the end of the day, you have something that people want and it's going to be valuable. But over 5 years, I see construction getting more expensive. So if you want to build a house, it's very similar to real estate. It's like, hey, look, with inflation and some of the things, the best time to build a house was yesterday, similar to real estate. And I say that because the trades, a lot of the good ones are retiring. There's not a lot of young guys like me that are actually building quality product. And that's going to create a supply and demand issue.
Yeah.
It already is. There's not a lot of, I'll give a shout out for people that want to get in the trades. There are a lot of good business. Okay, you saw the guy come up in the 7 Series Beamer, and you moved to real estate, and great. If you got a knack for real estate and you can do that, great. But there is a lot of good paying jobs for tradesmen. But you got to look at it as a career.
Well, and you got to also look at it as that's also AI proof.
It is. It's AI proof.
AI is never going to be able to sweat a pipe or pull a wire through or drill a hole or nail anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe it'll be able to nail things, but but that said, it's just and not only that, but a lot of these subs, they're paid really well.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this. We got bids back on a project, and he's just one of my business partners is I wonder if the prices are ever going to go down. And it's what do you think these subs come to the builders? Have you ever had a framer come to you and be like, Nathan, you know what? I want to reduce your pricing that I gave you.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We get a lot of conversations around market conditions, right? Lumber is a big one, right? Because the lumber is an easier thing to track. It's a commodity. So, but it was funny. We got a report literally a month ago, and it was hey, lumber's at at a low, right? Whatever that means is like, I think it was $1,000 a board foot. Or
Based
whatever,
off of a high.
Based off a high, right?
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is like, it's like, oh, that's great. Except for like, I'll tell you what, like, just because like I might be able to get lumber a little cheaper, but like the labor component is such a big deal to get qualified labor on your job site. So like when you're hiring a framing company, like just because lumber got a little cheaper doesn't mean that they're like going to lower their price. Like, unless there's no work. But anyone that is good at what they do in the trades is going to have work.
Yeah.
Well, and in order to lower your pricing on labor, you have to let go of experienced people and hire newer ones.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of companies that are doing that. So what you're saying is you're not seeing pricing coming down on building, which building prices going up means most of the time real estate values go up. But
Sure.
What are you seeing?
What
are you predicting?
What am I predicting? So in 5 years, I mean, I think real estate will be up in 5 years. I mean, like, you know, right now, I think it's pretty flat. Like, in my opinion, like it's a slight buyer's market. Depends on the specific subset neighborhood that you're in, but in 5 years, I think that if you look historically, it's going to cost more to buy real estate and to build real estate than it does today. And at the end of the day, people like nice, new, shiny things, and they'll continue to build stuff, and
they'll pay a premium for it.
They'll pay a premium for it, and that'll start driving some of these other prices up in the neighborhood, specifically ones that are luxury based. You know, with that said, even new home ownership, you know, like when you look at statistically, I thought it was real interesting. Like, you know, they'll throw out like a statistic that doesn't mean much, but like they're like, oh, like you know, there's 50% more homes in Arizona that sell for over $1 million, and I'm like, yeah, because they just hit the cusp of like actually going over $1 million. Because now building new construction, like even in the East and West Valley, it's like new construction is still $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 to buy a cheap tract home, and that's in the East and West Valley. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, of course you're going to see a lot more $1 million product because you know our market's
the water levels
grown so much,
moved everything up,
and moved everything up, right? So, you know, they probably said that when they got to the $500,000 mark, you know.
Yeah.
But one thing's true. You know, a lot of people have done well by home ownership, real estate investing, and, you know, every once in a while, you know, good builders make some money too.
Yeah.
Well, you're definitely one of the good ones, sir.
I appreciate it.
Well, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Why don't we share your Instagram, whatever ways, phone numbers, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to get a hold of me, it's easy. You can go to our website. Obviously, you follow us on our social media channels, Instagram. We do have a YouTube channel. You go check out some of our content there. But
what's your website?
Website is rebuildtheblock.net.
Rebuildtheblock.net.
.net. Yeah, com was taken, so is what it is. And then you know, realistically, if you're looking at building something, or you're looking at going through the process of actually going through the full development, that's where I think our bread and butter is. A lot of our clients come to us, we buy them a lot, we help them with the development of the project, and we build the house. So we start
full service.
Full service. And it makes a big difference. Like, you know, there's some really good agents at RETSY that can be able to represent you well. But if you're looking to build, you better work with someone that understands what you can actually put on that lot and what the restrictions might be. But if you're looking to build or buy anything, just reach out to me. My phone number direct, I don't even mind giving it. It's 925-640-2880. And yes, that is my Bay Area number. I got like 3,000 contacts in it, and I'll probably never get rid of it. So.
Well, thanks for coming on, Nathan. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That wraps up this week's episode of the RETSY podcast. Thanks for listening. Check out the show notes to connect with Nathan. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a moment to leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast, and please subscribe so you never miss what's next. Next week, Chris and Matt are sitting down with RETSY agent Chrissy Heller. Here's a sneak preview.
I had like an epiphany. It will be like 2 years October that I thought, I was like, I'm not going to have a job in 10 years if I don't start posting on social media, and actually talking and doing that. That's where, because I'm like, when I'm going out to a new restaurant or looking at a business, I look up their Instagram. I don't Google. And so I'm like, if people are coming to my Instagram and I don't have anything, then why? That's how I thought of it. So then I'm just one day, I remember the video. I was at the property on Whitten, and I was like, you just got to talk to the camera and just do it.